Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman with Emily Robinson on the Life After D podcast. We're trying this new immersive thing where we're looks like we're together. So it's August 30th, 2021. What's going on, Emily, with all the divorce stuff going on?
Well, I don't know where this year went. I mean, it's just flying by, but yeah, divorce is moving along. It's been very, very busy. I think people are just done waiting for the pandemic to end and just moving forward with their lives because they can't wait anymore.
I saw like there was some news about a booster shot and how they're gonna roll it out. I don't know if you heard it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
I think people like are starting the first like people are getting it, and I've read in the news that the stuff going, like people being hospitalized, like as far as like people vaccinated, the rates of like severe how do you say, illnesses are very, if not zero, like really low. So yeah, that's kind of exciting news, and I guess this is how we're gonna go. It's just gonna be stop and go, like on the freeway, right? Yeah.
Yep, I think so. But yeah, I think they said you take the booster like 8 months after your last shot. So people are starting to do it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have to like look. I don't know how that's gonna work. Like we'll see, because there's like people giving like fake vaccination cards, and they're gonna have to like, I don't know how you verify it, but that's like their problem. They'll figure it out. Maybe there's a laser they can like scan you with or something.
Yeah, I know, right? I have no idea.
All right, so with that, let's get to the news. Lots of news. So this part of the show, we go over the news, see what's going on with what's upticking on Google. We get a lot of celebrity news, a lot of helpful news, some financial sites that give us some sort of insight. So let's get into it today. Ooh, okay. So NBA fans here, we're going back to the Curry divorce here. I can't help it. I'm a Steph Curry fan here. So let's get into it. So there's a report that says Steph Curry has chosen sides in parents' divorce. So more details continue to emerge. Earlier this month, TMZ Sports reported that Sonia Curry had filed for divorce from her husband of 30 years plus, but TMZ Sports broke the news last Monday. Steph Curry's parents are going their separate ways. TMZ Sports has learned Sonia Curry has filed for divorce from Del Curry. 55-year-old Sonia put in the paperwork back in June 14th in North Carolina. According to court records, a court official tells us divorce is still ongoing. Details surrounding the reason for the split are unclear. We're working it out, they say. Del Curry has reportedly accused Sonia of cheating on him with a former NFL player. That's not the only cheating allegation, though. Del Curry, a former NBA player, is accused of cheating on Sonia with multiple women. MTO News is now reporting that Steph Curry has chosen his mother's side in the divorce. So an insider says that Steph's relationship with his father is strained after this. He's disappointed that Del would put all their family business out there, and he doesn't believe the accusations against his mother. So how does this work? Like, I know it's really tough for children, like in a divorce, like to take sides. Like how do you like navigate this if you're like a child? Well, you know, you're an adult child now, but it gets ugly, right? Like, what's your experience with this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, adult children, since they're not minors, the court doesn't really deal with them, but a lot of times they get dragged in as witnesses. They get forced to take sides. Sometimes things relate to them, as far as property and things like that. And it can get very ugly. It can cause a rift between the adult child and one of the parents. Obviously, if the adult children can stay out of it, it's best, but that's not always practical. And a lot of times they are witnesses and eyewitnesses to things. So, they frequently end up being involved in the divorce in some way.
All right, I saw this Kanye West, like it was like a concert, but it was like there was, because it said I'm in the fantasy football right now, so it said Chicago Bears Stadium like almost destroyed. That was the headline, because Kanye was like put a house in like on the football field or something. But they're in the news. So it says here by L.com, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West reportedly working on rebuilding relationship and may call off divorce, despite reports this past week that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West aren't back together right now. TMZ has a new twist to the story of their relationship and ongoing divorce. The two may just make things work and reconcile. Multiple sources close to the couple told the outlet that while the divorce is still on for now, there actually is a chance they could get back together. They've been spending time together privately and working on rebuilding in the foundation of their relationship. The two particularly have many areas of disagreement that have to be worked out, but what's best for the kids. West and Kardashian share 4 children, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. While Kardashian came out in a couture wedding dress during the West Donda listening event this week as a part of the performance. He reports that Kardashian wasn't entirely thrilled about how the concert went down and West's other on-stage guests. So the guests included accused sexual abuser Marilyn Manson, DaBaby, who came under criticism for his homophobic remarks, joined West during the performance. Their inclusion blindsided Kardashian. So as far as like working out things in a divorce, this looks like it's like, I don't know if it's clickbait or they're working on it. So is it a common thing, or like how does, because some do and then they get back together and then it's just like it's a loop that just happens again.
Well, it's hard to know how much is for the tabloids and how much is real, but it happens frequently that people try to make it work or get back together because this is somebody you had planned to spend your life with. And, when you go through the divorce proceedings, it suddenly feels real. And sometimes it is hard to actually end it or to accept that this is where things are now. So it is frequent that people do pause and try to work it out. Some people even do get back together. But yes, you're right. Sometimes then it's a cycle of get back together, break up, get back together, break up. But I have seen cases where it actually works. You get back together and you stay together. So it just really depends. There's no way it typically works out, but it is very common to get back together while you're going through a divorce and try to make it work.
Okay, so with like COVID and everything, there's like new things that come up. It looks like here is one of them. So Chicago Sun-Times.com, divorce attorneys brace for exes battling over kids getting COVID vaccine. Brad Novak, a divorced father from Lansing, got COVID-19 himself and said there are too many unknowns for him to be comfortable getting his 13-year-old daughter vaccinated. With COVID-19 vaccines recently approved for children 12 and older, more divorce attorneys around the country starting to see divorced parents disagree on vaccinating their children. This is something we've been seeing increasingly over the last few months, said Stephanie Tang, an attorney with Chicago law, Kogut and Wilson. And so she represented parents on both sides of the issue, said even before the pandemic, divorced parents argued over vaccinations. Now with school starting and restrictions being tightened at many public places like restaurants and entertainment venues, it's putting more pressure on parents to vaccinate the children against COVID-19. Adding to the pressure was last week's decision by the Food and Drug Administration to give final approval of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for people 16 and over, replacing its emergency use status and putting it on par with other marketed vaccines. So this is like the new world now for you.
Yeah. No, this is definitely something I've seen a lot of lately, and parents not being able to agree. And typically what will happen is a court won't decide if a child's going to be vaccinated or not, because that's a parental decision. But what the judge will do is if the parents can't agree, the judge can pick which parent gets to make the medical decisions. And therefore, the judge will go with whoever the judge thinks is acting more in the child's best interest and is more reasonable. So technically, the judge knows if they're picking the parent that wants to vaccinate or not, but it can also be a slew of other issues too. I mean, COVID vaccinations might not be the only medical issue that needs attention. So for parents that really can't agree, that's typically what would happen.
Yeah, this is like a weird. There's probably other things that'll come up too, but it's like the new world now. So
yeah,
we'll see. This is an interesting one. Divorced with children: how to change your child's surname. So this is from JDSuper.com. When you get a divorce, so this is out of Washington, you can ask the judge to change. You can ask the court to change your surname as a part of the proceedings. Well, you can change it to any name your heart desires. As a common course of events involves restoring one's maiden name. Sometimes a parent may want to change the surname of their children as well. It's not an option during the divorce proceedings, and you will have to file a separate petition in district court. However, the other parent might not agree to have the child's name changed. Given the high conflict nature of divorce litigation, this should not come as a surprise. The parent advocating for the name change will provide his or her reasons for why the child's name should be changed, and the parents advocating for the name to remain unchanged will make his or her case in response. So how does the court decide this issue? Ultimately, the judge must determine whether the name change is in the best interest of the child. Our judicial system recognizes that this is not a light matter to be quickly adjudicated, changing surnames so that a child no longer bears the name of a custodial parent. Not only is of inherent concern to the custodial parent, but is in a real sense a change in status having significant societal implications. Once the surname has been selected for a child, be it maternal, paternal, or some combination of the children's parents' surnames, a change in the child's name should be granted only when the change promotes the child's best interest. So here's some factors that came from the 1985 case, Days versus Mastos, explaining how to analyze the type of issue. The Washington Supreme Court asserted that the trial judge may consider the following factors: the child's preference, the effect of the change of the child's surname, of the preservation and the development of the child's relationship with each parent, the length of time the child has borne a given name, the degree of community, respect associated with the present and proposed surname, the difficulties, harassment, and embarrassment the child may experience from bearing the present or the proposed surname.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I do see this too. Like maybe father isn't on the birth certificate and didn't get, part of his name in the child's name, or mother wants her last name added because, she has the primary care of the child and her name isn't the same as the child's last name. So yeah, it's typically is about the best interest of the child. I think the younger the child is, the probably more likely to get the name change granted because the child isn't wedded to their name yet. I think the older they get, the harder it is because then you're changing the child's name with the child's knowledge, and the child is used to their current name and might not want a name change. So I think probably that's, one of the biggest factors is the age of the child and have they established the name yet. I mean, little children don't even know what their last name is, so it wouldn't matter to them at all. And it is helpful to have both parents' names, on the child's name for passports and things like that. So it's really just weighing all the factors and having the judge make a decision.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because your name is like your identity, right? So it's
right.
Like, I can understand how children would, a growing child would, factor that in.
Right.
So yeah, so that's I never even thought of that. Yeah. So let's get into the show. The part of the show where it's called Dear Emily, where we go over people's online posts, whether they're in the start of their divorce journey, their going through like, maybe mental health issues, child custody. All of it's covered. So let's get to it here. This one's a mental health one. I just want to know what he thinks of me. It's so unfair and cruel that he moved his girlfriend into our apartment days after he left, causing me to scramble and leave. The morning I woke up reeling mentally, walking through our old space that I'll never be able to return to, and called home for 6 years, knowing she's there. She replaced me, using my bathroom, sleeping in a room, watching TV on my couch. How do I deal with these intense emotions and thoughts? It hasn't even been 2 months. I feel like I can't talk to my friends about this anymore because they're trying to get me to move on and don't want me to bring them up, but I'm still processing everything and having a really hard time. This is such a huge loss on so many levels that I really just want to give up the way the world is, and how hopeless I feel about anything in my life improving and making sense. Life just doesn't feel worth it anymore. I was completely blindsided. I had stability and security. Now I have nothing. Everyone says focus on yourself, but how I can't. I don't care about myself anymore. I care about wanting to be with him, what he's doing, what his experience is without me, how he's replaced me. It's so painful.
Wow, that's tough. I mean, really, that person needs therapy or a support group. And I know I say that a lot, but you've got to have someone to talk to work through these issues. They're intense and they're difficult, and your friends want to be there for you, but they're not qualified to help psychologically. At some point, you just need to get professional help, somebody that can walk you through it and help you keep your emotions balanced.
All right, next one. This is a person going into the divorce process, getting started. My spouse wants a divorce, but I don't, and I'm not sure what to do. My spouse and I are going through a rough patch early in our relationship. I was ill prepared and a bad husband. I never cheated on her, but I hung out and slept in the house of an ex when I needed a place to stay. That ex and I had a child before I met my spouse, and I was upfront about that when I met my spouse. The arrangement my daughter's mother and I had was that I wasn't going to be involved in her life. Fast forward 15 years later, my daughter contacted me on Facebook. I know I shouldn't have told. I should have told my wife as soon as it happened, but I was scared of the outcome of that conversation. I probably took the worst decision and had conversations with my daughter for about 8 months before my wife found out. Nothing inappropriate. I literally just answered questions for her and got to know her a little. My wife understandably feels betrayed and thinks I cheated on her. She continually brings up that maybe I want to move out and back with my daughter's mother, which I don't. She's insistent we divorce immediately because she believes we can never rebuild our trust. I'm crushed. It's hard to breathe, hard to think. I saw counseling for now, but in this COVID environment, in-person marriage counseling is incredibly difficult to set up. It's been about a month and hasn't gotten better. Do I set up a divorce lawyer? If I do, doesn't that signal the end and giving up? Horrified at what this led to and ashamed I didn't trust my wife, but actions have consequences and I can't change what happened. Any advice is appreciated.
That's tough. I mean, the wife sounds like maybe she's a little bit insecure about things because she's very concerned, you know, about these interactions with the daughter and the ex. Now, I think it's understandable to be concerned, but I think they really have to sit down and talk about it. It seems like it may be too fast to just jump and say, okay, we're getting divorced. There's got to be some talking, maybe some counseling. There's a lot of steps that can happen before the divorce. So I would certainly push those before just jumping into the divorce.
All right, last post of the day. We covered so much today. It's just gone by so fast. Let's see. This one is a getting started one. Need advice on how to talk to my daughter about divorce. My husband and I have decided to get a divorce. It's amicable. We still care about each other. We're we're not mad or vengeful. The problem is we have to talk to our 10-year-old daughter today about what's going on. I need some advice on what should be or not be said. I know to reinforce that we love her and this is not her fault. Also going to be moving 3 hours away this weekend to stay with my family. I have nowhere else closer to stay and get on my feet. She's not going to be able to come with me until at least the next school year once I have a place for us and all our basic needs. She's very sensitive. She's a lot like me, and emotions get very big for us, especially the bad ones. Any advice is appreciated.
Well, you definitely have to gear it towards the child and how the child will accept the information. And if she's very sensitive and might have a hard time, then I think, her parents need to think about the best way to present it to her. Should they present it in therapy or with a school counselor or together or separate? Every child reacts differently to news being shared. So you have to read your specific child and their needs and then act accordingly, because there's no one right way to do it.
Okay. Well, that's the last post of the day. Emily, do you have any, any closing thoughts and arguments here?
Nothing new. Just, stay safe. Hopefully things continue to open up and not shut down, and we can have some semblance of normalcy again.
Oh, and we got the recall, the California governor recall. That's coming up. So I think the results come in September, maybe.
Yeah, they do. So vote.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you guys next week on the Life After D podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.